if you have noticed, within Record Producer, there is a scripting section. See, this is script section. And within this Record Producer, there are two objects available that will be used to fetch values from the form or the Record Producer and play with it. And the two objects will be the current object and the producer object. See, these are two objects that you will be using. For example, if you want to access the value of the field name as marketing event, right? If you want to get the value of this marketing event field from this Record Producer, how do you do that, right? For that, what you will do is you will do something like, because this is marketing event, the name of the marketing event variable we kept as marketing underscore event. If I go here, oh, we kept it as location. I'll mark it as marketing underscore event and I'll save it. So this is the name. We'll be accessing this control using this name, marketing underscore event. Okay. Now let's go ahead and see appropriate names for other variables as well. Attendee registered, which is good. Attendee is expected, which is also good. I know needed from and needed until is good. So what if I ask you to take a variable, for example, variable marketing event, and I ask you to fill this variable with value which is provided by the consumer on the producer Record Producer, right? Now, since you want to access the value of the control from the Record Producer, you have to use this producer object. You will be doing producer dot marketing underscore event, right? You know that marketing underscore event is the variable name here for this question, and you want to access the value from producer. So you are doing marketing producer dot marketing event. Let's quickly go ahead and alert this value. When we alert this value, it will provide us something like this. I'm going to put this value here, this message. So when I submit this Record Producer, I'll be seeing this message. Let's go here and I submit it. It is saying about some scoping, cross scope privileges. Let me see if we are into appropriate marketing email. Looks like.
Yes, Rajesh.
Yep.
Bravo.
Yep.
Yeah. When I did mine and went ahead and filled one, it was able to fill all of them but two. Um, the event itself, which is um, the event sponsor. Even the event name came, but he went into he took it and then added it to the listing choice.
I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. In your case, the variable names on the Record Producer and the variable name on the marketing event form would be same. If both are same, see, if you have noticed the
Yeah, because of number 12.
Yeah, the value of sponsor is getting propagated to the next screen on my case, right? Because the name of the variable of sponsor is the same as the variable name on the marketing event form. So it propagates automatically if you keep the same
Yeah.
variable, right? Otherwise you will have to do this.
Okay. All right. Because I followed it number 12 exactly what they have there.
Yeah. Let me quickly see. It looks like value is not getting propagated here. Marketing event.
Okay. Okay.
Here is name marketing event. Uh, Hang on a second, please. I need to do some stuff here. This, back. This is getting propagated now. This is fine. Now let's go back here. So enter values. This is number of attendees. I'll open up. I just match the name of the variables here on the record producer. The name of the marketing event variable was marketing underscore event earlier. I went ahead and made it name because on the application I had the same name here. The name of the marketing event variable was name. So I went ahead and matched their name, and it is now automatically propagating values from one field to another field. So marketing event name. If I go to number of attendees expected, column name is number of attendees expected. So I'll go here and the number of attendees expected, I'll match the same name here. So the name would be number of attendees expected. Then I'll go back here and I'll pick the other names. Number of I'm sorry, number of attendees registered. Pick the same name convention here. I'll copy this. Go back. Okay, producer. Number of attendees registered. See, if we match the variable names, you will have to do very less coding here because it will automatically propagate values from record producer to the current form, which is marketing event form. Now this is saved. Sponsor was already working. Let's see the variable name for dates and go on needed from and see what this value here is on the application side. Oh, this is a start date and end date. So let's do start date. Let's do start date here, update it, and let's also do end date. Question, you could keep anything. Name should be same, right? If I go back now, if I go to the record producer and put a valid request, put a valid input values here. For example, uh, show sponsor is Apple, 50 people registered, and 35 expected, needed from this, needed until let's say 30, and I'll submit it. When I do, you can now see that the name has been propagated here, end date, start date, sponsor, number of expected attendees, and number of registered attendees. Everything gets propagated, right? And we didn't even have coded for it, right? No code has been required until now. It brings all these values by default here because we made the variable naming convention same. We made the variable names same, right? Now, the record producer has populated data onto the marketing event form, but it has not been saved yet. Right? To save it, you will have to update it. When you update it and you go to the marketing event application, you will now see a record in the marketing, where is that? Yeah, marketing event table. Right? You now see a record here. So that's how you use you use record producers to populate data into some forms. You collect data from the users and then you supply that data into some form uh, to actually get that user input process completed. Okay. Now let's go back to record producer. See, within this script section, I'll quickly refer to wiki.servicenow.com to see a record producer script. This is pretty simple, although you know we have to access values using producer dot, let's say, name, and if we want to update our form on the marketing event side, we'll do current dot name is equal to producer dot name. Likewise, we'll have to see the current is the marketing event application, this form, because after you submit values from the record producer, you land onto the marketing event form, which is your current form, right? So this current object will be referring to the marketing event form, and this producer object will be referring to the record producer, the initial form where you fill values in. So you take values from the producer and then you supply that value to current name, current object, which is the marketing event form. So this way you propagate. If you were not making the variable names similar, if the variable names were not similar, then you have to code it. You have to write like current dot, let's say, marketing underscore event is equal to producer dot name. So you are taking value from the producer and then you are putting that value onto the current form, which is the marketing event form. So that's how you do. Now I'm going to get a producer script here as a sample. This is one line. I'll copy this as well and make sure that I discuss about this. This is one line that we'll be talking. Apart from that, let's talk about all these.
Do we have to code this?
That depends if you have the requirement of that kind. If you have that kind of requirement where it needs coding,
Mr.
yes,
Rahul?
yep, yes, Sam.
Okay.
Or looks like there is a latency
Oh,
between.
I was
Uh, I can't hear you properly, Sam. What's your question?
you can't. Yeah, I said
You are breaking up. I can barely hear you.
I, it might be from my network. Let me. Oh boy. Let me come back.
Sure,
No.
sure.
Can you hear me?
No,
Can you hear?
you are breaking up.
Oh. Hmm. Okay. A network is. I can hear you, but so go ahead.
Yeah,
That's fine.
it's better now. It's better now.
Oh, I was asking that the code that you were doing.
Mm-hmm.
Are we supposed to put it in our
Yes,
um, assignment?
yes, yes. You will have to.
Breaking.
You'll have to.
Okay. What is the requirement for doing that
I'll tell you
on
what.
this page?
I'll tell you.
Okay.
See, the requirement on this one will be to propagate all values that you collect on the record producer to the marketing event form. That's the first requirement that you can do by making the variable names appropriate. That's done. But after you do that, I also require you to do some more things. For example, I want you to post a message on the form saying that, and you need to say like this: marketing event request created, right? Something like this. So if you have to do that, you will like to have this d underscore form dot info message, and then you will have to write like the message here and this, and then this producer dot redirect. This is to redirect to a page after your work has been done. right? So let's go ahead and see if this works. G form underscore add info message. Somehow I am unable to post that message here. Looks like there is some issue with the script. I'll quickly go and refer one of the record producers here. For example, in this case, I'm going to refer to, let's look into this emergency change and see if we have some script. Oh, I was using different object, so that's why I was not able to do that. I'll do gs.add_info message, and I'll update it. Now see the difference. I wanted you to post a message after you filled up this form on the record producer. Now you submit this. When you submit this, I wanted you to post this message here. Marketing event request created. Right? I was wrongly using the wrong object, which is gform object. Gform object will not be used there. I had to use this GS message, the GS method, GS object. GS is glide system, right? This is again a class available in here. This is a class available in ServiceNow known as GS, which is glide system, right? So see, this glide system will be used to access common functions which is already defined in ServiceNow. Too many common functions that you will be using that will be accessed using this glide system object within ServiceNow, right? Like I am right now using gs.add info message. So this is one method that I am using right now from GS, the GS class, right? And to access this GS class, which is glide system class, you have to use this abbreviation gs.glide info message. Okay. Now on record producer, we saw that we are using three things. The first one is GS we are using. The second one is the current value, current object, and the third one is producer. Right? We see that these three objects are accessible and usable on the record producer. Right? Let's go back and grab some more script from one of the record producers and see what we can do. See, there are several lines of code written on the create incident record producer. I'll go back and bring this on the marketing event record producer, and I'll try to pick appropriate functions from there. Okay, I don't need this, I don't need this. See, if you have to do comparisons, let's take an example. If you have to put a comparison here, for example, if you want to do, if the start date is after end date, right? So you want to put a check here. So I'll go ahead and do if producer dot start date is greater than producer dot end date. message or something. Gs dot add info message and put a message and we'll say that start date cannot be greater than end date, right? So here, by taking the value from the form, you are doing some comparison, some conditional statement, right? So this is a full programming that you can do here on this page. Let's go back and see by creating a record where the start date is greater than the end date. And let's see if this message is displayed or not. So I'll keep the start date as 30th of June and the end date as 15th of June, right? Let's make this Parker Road show. The sponsor will be ServiceNow. Number of attendees 50. Let's submit it. When I submit it, it says start date cannot be greater than end date, right? It's compared these values, right? So we created a script in Record Producer. We did a conditional statement here, and using that conditional statement, we are doing some sort of check, right? And the check here is to check if the start date and end date are valid, right? If it is not a uh, valid date, so I'm going to put an error message. Instead of an info message, I'll put an error message, right? So this way, you make your form interactive, your record producer interactive. See, this time it is an error message in red color, right? And it says marketing event request created. So you are putting the error message as well as the info message, right? And you populated this. Now see, none of these form fields are validated as of now. If I go ahead and update this, I can do that because city is not a mandatory field, right? Now, the application that we design, we must have certain validations on the forms, right? So that we mandatorily get input from users on the fields which are required to be filled by users, right? So while designing application, you have to put those kind of front-end validation, some back-end validation as well. The front-end validation that you do will be your UI policies that we discussed earlier, right? Like making mandatory, visible, uh, etc., read-only, etc. So those are UI policies. Likewise, there are policies from the backend as well that you create, which is data policy. We'll be talking about data policies in greater details later. But right now, what I want to discuss is these record producers. If you keep the variable names same, you will be able to see those variables, those values propagated to the form. If not, then you will have to use this syntax. You will have to use current.marketing event is equal to producer.name, etc. Right? Now, if you have to do some comparison, some conditional checks, you use this. You can do your programming activities, whatever programming activity that you want to. You can use the GS object and get all of these methods utilized here, right? You can use all these. So there are several methods available within GS that you can utilize here, right? Now, so that's how you do that. Now let's assume that you have a scenario where after you submit this form, you don't want to see that marketing event form. You just want to go to this home page, which is home.do, or let's say you want to go to navpage.do, right? So I'll do this. Let's do that. Let's do homepage.do, which is, let's see it. it brings us to home page. Yeah, let's do that. Home.do. So what this means is, after these lines of code are executed, the record producer will be redirected to the home page, which is home.do, right? If you have a scenario like that where you do not want to see the form, you just want to collect record, propagate that value to the table and go away, so you will use that redirect method there, redirect property there, right? So again, Parker, let's keep Denver, and so now 185, I'll mark 30 and I'll mark 15 and I'll submit it. Let's see. So it didn't take us to the marketing event form, although it displays the message, the error message which says start date cannot be greater than end date, and the marketing event request created information, right? But using that producer dot redirect, I was actually redirected to the home page, right? To the self-service page. We were supposed to come here using that producer dot redirect, right? You can use anything. For example, you can go ahead and use, let's go ahead and put, I want to redirect my page to google.com, right? Let's go here. See, it is actually trying to send you to the google.com, but this is kind of looking into the resources within the system here. So that's why it is saying that the page cannot be found, right? The idea is to have redirection in place. Using that piece of code, you can redirect your producer page to some other pages, right? Questions? You want to discuss more? You all with me?
Yes.
Any questions?
No, but Rahul, can you explain how we generally use ServiceNow tool in any corporate company, like, or just an overview? Because I'm still getting the kind of confusion that how we use this tool in a
See, in the initial sessions, we discussed about change application. This is again ITSM process application that we have. Now, this change application will be utilized by your enterprise, where they will use this change application as a system to get your change request fulfilled. Organization use these change application. They use the problem application that you have. They'll use the incident application. They'll use the knowledge application, right? They'll use this project management application, which has to be activated using plugin. You may use the test management application here, right? The marketing event application is a custom application that we built, right? I can use this custom application within my organization. I had a PC order application created earlier. Let me see if I have that within my one of the instances. That PC order application was one application to order PCs for people within the organization. I don't have it here. So the PC order application is, so let's say um, you are new joining within the organization and you have to request a PC, desktop, laptop or any software, then how do you do that? You must have a system in place that creates a request for you, right? So you could utilize that PC order custom application there to do that, right? So this is custom application. Um, if you have any other process within the organization that you use ServiceNow. Let's talk about configuration management as well. If you go here in the configuration management application section, you will see all the asset details stored here. Assets like application servers, the servers, clusters, database servers, database instances, database catalogs, network. So all kinds of assets that you can think within an enterprise will be listed in here, right? You bring all those assets within the configuration management database, and your custom applications will be based on this configuration management database here, right? Because this is where you keep all the relationships stored at one place, single system of record and truth, right? So you create a system of record, you maintain all the relationship between all the configuration items or assets identified within the system, right? Now you have that data in place here in CNDB, and you can keep on building your applications on top of that, right? Now, let's look into your day-to-day help desk activity. Let's assume that you are working in a banking environment. You are working with Citibank, where you are supporting the Citibank US website, right? Citibank US. You are the developer of Citibank's US website, citibank.com, right, /US. Now, let's assume that one of your customers, I am your customer of Citibank, so I am trying to log in on the website of citibank.com/US, and I am seeing that the account balance that I see on the website is not appropriate. The data is incorrect, right? I had, let's say, $10,000 in my account, but it is showing $9,970 there, right? Now, I know that this is a technical fault. I still have the bank statement with me, which shows that I have that much of amount in my account, but somehow your system on the website is showing incorrect data. So what I'll do, I'll call your customer care. I'll call Citibank customer care or help desk, and I'll discuss this issue with them, right? They go ahead and log that issue within their some sort of system, right? That system that they record, that system where they record this issue is incident management application, right? So they go ahead and create an incident saying that this user Rahul is having problem in accessing the Citibank website where he is seeing incorrect data on the form, which is not right. So somebody has to resolve that. Now this incident that I created for Rahul will have this incident ID INC00100024. Now this incident will be assigned to Vikrant per se. I'll say Vikrant has been assigned this incident because he's the person who manages the website, right? Now this problem that originated at my end, at Rahul's end, was transferred to help desk of Citibank, and Citibank then routed this incident to Vikrant, who is the developer of the website, and now Vikrant will work on that issue, and that the progress of that issue and the work that Vikrant is doing on that issue or incident is tracked using this unique incident number and using this incident application. Will that be a good scenario for using ServiceNow application? So that's one way of using ServiceNow application. Utilize the incident management application available in there, right? So whatever your business processes are, you can utilize your process applications which are already available in here, or you can create custom applications. Like think of the scenario where we are creating this marketing application. This is one application that I created for my finance team within the organization, right? So this is a custom application that I built. I created this application, and everybody, let's say there are 20 members in my finance team, right? And to automate and to to enable them utilize their processes in an efficient way, I created this application from them for them where they keep track of all the activities they are doing on the daily basis, They keep track of all the records that they generate using different processes that they have within the organization, and all these information is stored here in ServiceNow. You are utilizing this ServiceNow platform as building custom applications for your enterprise. Make sense? Vikram?
Yes, sir. It's clear.
Yes, sir.
Great. So what we'll do is, so this is, see, the idea of having this marketing event application built by you is, I have covered several concepts in here. If you notice, I started with the application. I asked you to work with tables, modules, then you worked with UI policy, form designer, you worked with uh, some scripting, the G form we did. We worked with record producer, then we worked with fulfillment script, the script that we just did for record producer, right? We did uh, we did dictionary editing, we did dependent fields, etc. See, using this example of marketing event application, we already have covered so many components or technical components available in ServiceNow, right? If I go on discussing just these applications or tables or modules theoretically, it will be difficult for you to understand why we are going to use these. So it's, in my opinion, it's better to have this as a practical example here. All of these components will learn by creating some application and see how practically we use this. Now, next sessions, what we'll do is we'll include some workflows in here, some of the workflows, and that will become um, a guiding policy or process here within this marketing event application, right? For example, if you have to get approval for the equipment request that you make, right? So that has to be approved by several persons. So we'll put a workflow in place there, right? So by having this application in place, we are targeting the technical components which are available in ServiceNow, and that which we picked and kept in the course curriculum. Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir.
Sorry about that. So idea is to have all these components discussed by a working example, which is in this case marketing event application. When in later sessions we will go ahead and develop a different concept, and we'll create some different applications other than this marketing event application, and we'll make it a full-fledged application just to see that we have learned something and we have covered the course curriculum that we have decided for this ServiceNow training. Okay. See, the next item here, we are done with 13 as well. We added this to service catalog on the can we help you category. We did it yesterday. The next item is to include this email notification and template of the application. Right? I can take this topic today, or if you say I can take this topic tomorrow as well. But the idea is to for you to go back and practice the record producer, um, bring all the values from the record producer onto the form, keep those messages on the form, and make it a full-fledged working form there, right? Bring all the data, get your UI policies in order. You may like to do some more validations. For example, like we did compare on the values of the needed from and needed until date, right? This is actually start date and end date. So you have to do this validation here on the start date and end date, and also number of attendees registered. You can put certain validations like the number of attendees registered cannot be less than the number of attendees expected, something like that, right? You can make this on the record producer. You can make this marketing event field mandatory. You can change the type of this marketing event field, etc. So these kind of things you can do, right? So the idea is to put certain validations, put certain scripts, make your application foolproof, make your forms foolproof. Do not allow user to put in garbage values, meaningless values into it. And then when once we are done, we'll we'll start working on notification and email templates. So let's quickly talk about this. Using notification and email template, what you target to do is whenever a marketing event request is submitted into the system, I want to send an email to a group of people saying that this marketing event has been created, right? Take whatever action you want to take, right? So if that is a scenario where you create a marketing event request and you want to send email out to a group of people, you have to use this email notification there. Okay. Likewise, if you have to create a equipment request, let's say you are creating an equipment request and you want to send an email to your manager. While you create this equipment request, you want to send this email to your manager. How should your system identify what your manager is, who your manager is, right? So that has to be done using certain qualification criteria and the notification email template, the email notification. So you bring the email notification in place attached to this application, and then the emails are sent out on some of the events, some of the triggers which get fired on the application, right? So that's something that we'll be doing tomorrow. Um, right now, tomorrow will be. So when you come tomorrow, make sure that you are done until step 30, right? 11, 12, 13. We need to make sure that we are done with these. Okay? Is it too much to ask?
Okay.
Okay. So let's do that. Tomorrow we'll be doing email notifications and templates, and then we'll do update sets, and then we'll follow some more topics there. Okay? And then I'll create some more assignments. Other than this marketing event application assignment, I'll create another assignment as well. And then
Okay.
after we are done with creating the application, we'll move to other topics. Okay? All of you.
Tarao, I'll wait for you.
Sure, thank you.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I think we'll drop the session now.